Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring a Ball watch. Now Ball have had a kind of quite a bit of history really when it comes to watchmaking. After all, they were the American brand which at the time won the contract for the American rail service after there was a collision between two locomotives, which basically was all down to the fact that the timekeeping of the day wasn't so great. Also, they weren't kind of synchronized with each other, and thus the American rail line actually issued out a contract, and Ball was really the kind of figure, the brand which rose from that, and even down to the fact, to the saying of "get on the ball" was all down to actually Ball watches. So they've had quite a bit of a history really. But anyway, before we get too far into this actual review, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis & Gay of Commentary for allowing me to review this watch. Honestly guys, I keep saying it, but there is absolutely loads of stock, well worth popping into if you're around the Coventry area. If you're a little bit further afield, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below. So anyway, let's talk about this one. This is a Ball Trainmaster Eternity. Now this is their just gorgeous blue dial variation of this watch. I think it does look really cool. But let's talk sizes. We're talking a 39.5mm case. Now it looks a lot bigger because there is no bezel. So it does feel more like a 41, almost even a 42mm watch from sheer looks. Thickness, I'm getting 11.9mm. The lug to lug, so distance across here, is 46mm, and the bracelet size on this model is 20mm. But let's face it, just look at that dial. It looks cracking how they've got this kind of pattern. I like the way that it all seems to stem from the bottom here and then kind of, start to flare out towards the top. They've done such a nice job of kind of, just a really nice job of making that dial, give it a bit of interest and kind of a way it catches the light and all that. It really does, it's so much better than a flat colour, I think. It does draw your attention in. Now, obviously, we have these rather gorgeous polished hands. And one thing Ball watches are known for are their use of gas tritium tubes. Now, on some models, they have them actually in like a numerical style, which looks a little bit, I'm not quite so keen on. But on this one, they've just got the single tubes going around these raised hour markers. Now, as to in the hour and minute hand, you can really see them pronounced on those hands. Now, what that means is you get a continuous glow, where many watches rely on the use of UV light to charge the luminous material. This will constantly glow. I believe you get round about 25 years out of the tubes before they would need to be replaced, if you actually decide to replace them. So subsequently, basically, in darkness, they constantly glow as well as daylight. Now, they do look quite cool. I wouldn't say it's the most powerful of looms, but it's constant and it will not fade like all the others will after a few hours. So you've got to hand it to them. It is quite cool how they do that. We also have on here the printed minute track going around there, and I like the way the dial seems to dive down at the end. It's kind of, I'm not quite sure if I believe it does, or it could be down to the crystal, but it looks like it dives down, and I think it looks really cool for that. Now, obviously, we have a printed Ball logo up there, which all looks quite nice. Automatic here, and Swiss made down there. And this T is to indicate that it is tritium. So the half-life being 25 years, and that's where the 25 comes from on there. Now, one of the other nice touches they do is the way they sign the second hand. Now, as a counterweight on the back, they have the Ball logo inscripted actually on the second hand. I think it does look really quite cool. Now, as we come past that, we have a day-date indicator. And, yeah, it lines up. Sometimes you've got, on some watches, they're sometimes a little bit high or a little bit low. And this one actually does line up quite nicely. Now, as we come past that, we have a sapphire crystal with an amazing dome on the edge end. That's where you get sort of like distortion, as you can see here as you look down upon the dial. Now this is a sapphire crystal. It has also got AR coating on there. Now as we come past that, we just have a nice, simple, kind of polished, lots of fingerprints, my fingerprints on there, but there you go. Now, the actual crown hasn't got any crown guards, but it is quite a pronounced crown. Now, it is a screw-down crown, but this watch does only carry 30 meters of water resistance. Now, basically what that means is you're best off not getting this watch anywhere near water, even when it comes to washing your hands and things like that. So I'm not quite sure why they only gave it 30 meters. Normally 50 is kind of a minimal, but for some reason we have only got 30 on this one. Now as we come round the back of this watch, there we go, we have the SW220 movement. Reason why I say, well, actually Ball call it the RR, what is it? The R1102. Now, that's just a, I'm not going to say a bog standard. That is a Sleater SW220 movement. The 220 versus the 200 is just because it has a day on the calendar window there. Now, it's a solid movement, no problem at all on there. It's 26 joules, and it will run for approximately, minimal runtime should be about 38 hours. Now, I've had people say, oh, it doesn't run for this long or whatever. But do remember, to charge one of these movements fully up, you are talking approximately 40 turns of the crown. Now, I'm not saying you should turn your crown for 40 turns, as you don't need it to be always fully charged. Just simply the motion of your wrist, as long as you haven't got a desk job, should be enough to actually wind this watch up and keep it wound. Now, overall, I put this on the time graph and I was getting, I think it was like plus 3 seconds, which was, yeah, absolutely solid. No problem at all for this one. Now, as we come past that, we've got this kind of interesting looking bracelet, really. I've not seen one like this before. I don't know, it's a bit different. It doesn't quite work for me, but I dare say some people will like it. It's a pretty solid bracelet, feels nice and okay. It's actually screwed, so no problems there. And it does have a fold over clasp here, which is very, very solid. Now, when it comes to adjustment, you do have half links on this. So, you can adjust it, but just be aware that you have got a butterfly clasp on there. If I show this on my wrist, you get an idea how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing my Breitling Breitling Colt 41. I love that watch. I've had it quite a bit of time on a John Keeley strap there. And Bob has got the Doxer on. Now, let's put this on my wrist, get an idea how it looks. Now, I've got a 7¼ inch wrist. So, get an idea. Now, it's a 39mm watch, but that fills my wrist really well, I think. It really does look quite a cool watch. Other little things, it's also got 5,000 Gs of shock resistance. Now, I'm not quite sure how they get that, considering the movement is only a standard Sleater movement. So I'm not quite sure. If any of you know how they do that, I'd be intrigued to find out. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you to it with that. And most importantly, stay safe out there. Bye.